Jeremy Corbyn, what would be the gear shift on immigration if you become leader in 2 weeks' time?
I think you have to make it clear that migration to this country has been of enormous benefit in education, health, industry, science and research. That migrants are a net payer into the economy, not a taker out from the economy, and that many British people choose to go and live abroad. There are 2 million British people living elsewhere. We also have to separate out the very large number of very welcome overseas students that come here, and they should be allowed to stay for a year or two after the end of their courses in order to develop their careers and their professions, and that ends up with a good economic relationship with Britain. We should also recognise that whilst we all say Britain has always been very welcoming towards refugees, it doesn't always feel like that. When I'm dealing with cases of people who fled to this country from Algeria during the Civil War quite a while ago, and many other places, whose cases have been lost or mishandled or whatever by the Home Office, and they are virtually destitute and reliant on churches and mosques in order to get by and survive. The levels of deprivation amongst often very well qualified refugees who want to come here and make a contribution are a shame on this country, and we should be prepared to say so.
Okay. First of all,
I want to ask Jeremy a question.
John,
I want to ask Jeremy a question, and it probably has the same tone of the question that I asked about the benefit system, which is that when you talk in the way that you do, I agree with you, and in a world city like London, where migration on the whole has been a success, it has the ring of truth about it and progressive politics and all the rest of it. I've been to places, though, like Wisbech in Cambridgeshire. It's an agricultural, low-wage kind of town, where very rapidly, a third of the population of that town now is from Eastern Europe. It's not a very pleasant place at all. There's a great deal of tension there. And even if you talk about changing public services so they act more rapidly, or you talk about, as Yvette did, about ending labour exploitation, even the legal part of the labour market, by far the majority, there's a minimum wage and so on, but it's still the case that people there, local people, Labour voters, a lot of them, or past Labour voters, feel an incredible amount of resentment and unease about how rapidly their town has changed, and also how employers use things that we are never going to stop them using, like shift patterns and so on, to exclude them from the labour market. Human beings very often are conservative creatures who don't like rapid change. And there's a very chewy, difficult thing here about EU migration. And sometimes when I'm there, and I don't necessarily like the fact that this goes through my head, but I begin to wonder whether there's a case for renegotiating free movement.
Well, I too have been in Wisbech and talked to people in Wisbech, and yes, there are a considerable number of Eastern European people living in Wisbech, indeed living all over the Fens and East Anglia as a whole. Many of them work in agriculture or agricultural processing industries. Many of them are grossly exploited. They're also a growing community, they're also an investing community, and there are some people, even in Boston, Lincolnshire, that will tell you the area has improved because of the number of small businesses that have been opened up by Polish and other people.
In Boston, the Labour Party's been electorally killed by...
No, can I finish my point? Because I think it's...
Very quickly.
I'll be very quick. I promise you I'll be really quick. The unions in the area, particularly Unite and other unions, have deliberately gone out of their way to recruit people from all backgrounds using multi-language leaflets and all the rest of it. So you build up, slowly albeit, and over a much longer period, a sense of class solidarity on the issue of exploitation and gang masters and all the disgraceful exploitation that goes on of those people.
I think if we're going to win voters back from UKIP, I think as John is suggesting, we're going to have to have a better answer than that. To be honest with you, we have to protect the going rate, stop the wages, the skilled workforce being undercut with rules from Europe, give more financial support to those communities. John, no, we don't renegotiate free movement. It's a two-way street. It benefits us as well as people who come here. But we need practical answers to people's concerns rather than avoiding people's eyes when the topic comes up. That's why we've got this Labour Yes campaign for Europe, so we can make a separate argument for the Labour Party to get those practical answers, never kind of dancing to the UKIP or the Tory tune on this issue.